All right, Alec, you ready?
Yeah.
Is your pants
No,
unzipped?
always.
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
I only wear athletic shorts, so technically they're always unzipped.
Based. All right, go Gogs.
Welcome to Movie the Podcast. That's right, Movie the Podcast. Hey, everybody's back. We're here.
You know where that beef is.
You know it's here in the
It's in the
barn.
barn.
It's the last week of Heistgist, or whatever we're calling it. Was that correct?
That is correct.
I did it. We're going to talk about. Well, here's the thrilling question to answer everyone's mind: is this the best Star Wars movie? Because we watched Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Find out.
Yeah.
On Movie the
The
Podcast.
answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
No.
And this is coming from a true believer.
I disagree, but we'll talk about it.
EJ the contrarian can never just
I mean,
go
it's
with the
not,
flow.
It's not. It's a good movie, but it's not the best. It's absurd.
I
to
mean,
call it
it's
best
no
Star Wars.
it's no Solo. Or
You know, the
Phantom
funny
Menace.
thing is, I'm glad you brought that up. I feel like if I went back and rewatched Solo, I'd probably like it compared to the garbage that we've watched after it.
I think because I watched it way after everybody else did,
Yeah.
it was like a serviceable way to spend an hour and 40 minutes.
Right.
Like, it wasn't good, but it wasn't like, oh my god.
Right.
Like
It was boring and shitty and uncreative, but like that's everything Star Wars after this, really, and The Mandalorian. You got a slight reprieve with The Mandalorian, but we'll get into it.
Yeah.
A very slight reprieve.
I mean, that first season, the second season's good,
It's
but
fine.
I like the second season a lot, but it just fell into the same trope of everything is a callback now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
where
the
season
problem.
one was like new characters, new places, and it's like, I don't know, Kathleen Kennedy got her fingers on it and was like, oh no, there's not enough callbacks. We need to make sure these idiots understand everything ties into Star Wars, even though it's called Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to get into it, but that's like the point I wanted to make. It's like this movie, like the weakest parts are where they have to drop something in there, just go, remember, this is a Star War. Like, I know it's a Star War. Please stop reminding me.
We'll talk a lot about that for me, because I like, it knocks the movie down points for me. Like, it's like glaringly distracting when you watch the movie for me. Like, I can't stand it. But I love the movie. Like, we'll get into it. What'd y'all watch this week? Sean?
Hang on a second.
Uh-oh.
I didn't really. All I watched was the Karate Kid season 4.
Cobra Kai.
Yeah, Cobra Kai season 4. It was good. I mean, like, the show's not like good, but I enjoy it a lot. Like, it's just like, I think Alec and I have talked about this because we both watched. Are you current, Alec? I know you saw the first 3 seasons.
Yeah, I'm current.
Okay. It still exists in this hyper reality where there's just karate everywhere. There's one character in the new season who's like, well, I had to come join up at your dojo because I didn't want to be the only person in town that doesn't know karate. And they're always referring to karate incidents.
It sounds like you're like Dream World, Sean.
Yeah. It's they brought back Terry Silver. Like, this is like fun fan service because it's so stupid that like. It's like that Al Bundy thing where he never got over his Polk High School days.
Terry Silver is the guy that was like, he was in VFW. He's the original bad guy.
No, that's Martin
Cove.
Terry Silver's the guy from the Karate Kid.
Yeah,
4. 3 or 3?
3.
God.
With the long hair.
I don't remember anything about Karate Kid 3.
The secret benefactor of Cobra Kai in Karate Kid 3 who hires karate bad boy Mike Barnes.
First of all, TJ, you need to watch all the Karate Kid movies. They fucking rock.
I do, yeah. I've seen the first 2. The third one has Hilary Swank in it. Is that the one?
No, that's way later.
That's the 4th one.
That's way later. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't even know if that's canonical.
Oh, fuck.
It is.
Take that, Hilary Swank.
Doesn't have Jaden Smith?
That's the 5th one. That's the next Karate Kid.
That's the remake with Jet Li Jackie Chan plays Mr. Miyagi.
But yeah, like they bring back like nobody can get over the fact that this like teenage boy won a karate tournament, so everybody has dedicated their life to getting revenge on him. And there's a joke I haven't laughed out loud so hard at a TV show joke. He's teaching Johnny about defense or whatever, and he's like, Mr. Miyagi said the best defense is no be there, and he goes, "You mean don't be there?" And he kind of goes, "Yeah," and he's like, "This motherfucker taught you all these life lessons. You couldn't even be bothered to help him with his English." And like, I fucking died.
That is pretty funny.
But it's the same setup as everything. It's just like there's like a million like street rumbles, and then there's a tournament. Like, but I like the messaging of this. Like, if you're a bully, someone will learn karate and beat you to death. So, like, it's a good message, but I'm not it's anti-bullying stance. But beyond that, I've just been shooting my fucking bow and arrow all week.
You're actually pro-bullying.
Yes, I'm
using bullying as an inspirational
hot take. 1,000% pro-bullying. I think it keeps everybody in their lane.
Yeah. You ever seen that comic? It was like a meme that went around where it was just like some big butch guy like smacks this fat kid and he's like, nice tits, fat ass.
Yeah.
And then the fat kid goes to the gym and gets all big.
And then he just starts. Then he does the same thing to somebody else. It's important because like you can tell when kids weren't bullied because they're those kids at work that like you can't say no to.
Yeah.
And they go to HR every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's a boy named Sue paradox. You're
exactly.
toughening them up.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Put a dash, put my name, pro-bullying.
Hot take
for the right reason.
Possibly shocking. I'm also pro-bullying. So yeah, I'm for it.
I think most people are pro-bullying.
Movie the podcast pro-bullying.
Yeah, don't be a star. Never do that. Unless you're a star bully.
Anything else, Sean?
No, that's it. Potato salad. That's Alec.
Oh. I do love potato salad.
I watched one thing.
One thing?
Alec's been slacking lately.
An Asylum feature.
Oh, no!
Called
Alec, are you okay?
Shark Side of the Moon.
Go on.
Wow.
So,
I just laughed so loud the Google thing did noise reduction because I've never seen that before.
So in the mid to late 80s, Russian scientists were experimenting on sharks. And they made Shark Side of the Moon. They were experimenting on sharks and they created a race of mutant sharks, which are basically like the shark character, or they're like street sharks.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
They break out. The scientists, the two main scientists, escape by rocketing to the moon, where all the sharks have grabbed the outside of the spaceship in an attempt to kill the scientists and eat them. So the sharks end up on the moon. We fast forward to 20 years later, the United States, I guess it's a global mission. They have a global mission to the moon to try to set up the infrastructure for the first moon colony. But there are sharks on the moon.
Right.
Who
can I ask a question?
They swim through the moon rock.
All right, you answered it.
And their fin just shows through the moon rock as they swim through it.
I was hoping they'd have little space helmets, like shark helmets.
Yeah, I was hoping they were just floating.
Nope, they can like breathe on the moon somehow.
Oh, fair. They can breathe no air.
It is so bad. It has like zero budget. Like I feel like somebody on this podcast could have made it in like Paint or Photoshop.
In the pantheon of terrible shark movies we've watched, like Shark Exorcist, and what was that one that looks like they shot it in Dundalk? I forget.
Land Shark?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Land Shark. Where does it fall in that scale?
This is not as good as Shark Exorcist because that was like 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
This is entertaining with how bad it is. It's like fun bad. Not like that Land Shark movie that was just
it was so bad.
Like inescapably bad.
Yeah.
This was at least like fun to laugh at.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Are the sharks literally contained only on half of the moon? Could they live unobstructed on the other half?
They're like just and they have their own colony set up that they built from. Yes.
I'm sorry, did you say built?
Yes, because they have like they're like street sharks. They have hands and stuff.
Wow.
It's on Tubi. It's a Tubi.
Of course it is.
It's a Tubi original.
Shut the fuck up. It's a Tubi original.
I highly recommend Shark Side of the Moon to anybody that wants to see some sharks and wants to see some people getting eaten by sharks and wants to see a bad movie.
Oh
I'm not gonna lie, that might be the best title of anything.
You're really
ever.
selling it to. I mean, I gotta watch this movie.
It led me down reading about Asylum and like how they got their start just making low budget, like terrible horror movies.
Yeah.
And then Transmorphers garnered them enough, or not Transmorphers. When War of the Worlds came out, they made their own War of the Worlds.
Right, because that's public domain.
Public domain.
Yeah.
And they ended up making like a couple of mil off of it, enough to like fund their, because it came out the exact same time as Tom Cruise's, and dummies were like buying it, thinking it was the Tom Cruise version.
That was always the meme that people's grandmas would buy you Transmorphers or Lady Terminator or whatever the fuck, thinking it's
Well, I remember
they legit made their like, I guess not their initial seething money because they made this other movie first, but that's where they made enough money to start all the stupid like Sharknado. And
that's fucking tremendous.
All that shit. Like good for them. Good for them.
I can't remember what movie it was, but there was a promo. I want to say AMC where they had like an Asylum club where they'd show Asylum movies like every month.
They had a night like when they had the
psycho would want to go see an Asylum movie like in the theater.
The same psycho that you had come on our show one time that said he only watches bad movies deliberately.
Correct.
Oh, fair.
That's all I watched though. Check it out. Shark Side of the Moon. TJ.
I only watched one thing. Watching a lot of.
We're gonna have a lot of time to talk about Rogue One. Fuck yeah!
Hell yeah!
The best part is I literally just finished it like 5 minutes ago. Before we started recording, I watched a movie called The Night House.
Is that Dave Franco? Is that like
no?
Or does he have something similar to that?
That he had a movie called like The Vacation House or something. I actually talked about that like last year. It was fucking horrible. No, this is by the same guy. I can't remember his name because I can never remember anybody's name. This is the same director that made The Ritual, which I really like. Alec, I believe you saw that and liked it as well.
Oh, is that like Norwegian?
It was British.
It was British.
It was British, but they were in like Norway, and that weird monster at the end, like
the antlers, and like it was gigantic. Yeah, that movie was really good. I like that.
Yeah,
that was in my phase of good Netflix horror movies, but they seem to have stopped making those now.
Yeah,
that came out right around the same time as Apostle.
The Martin Freeman one? Was that them too?
Oh, Cargo.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the same director as The Ritual, which I really liked. It stars Rebecca Hall, who I really like. She's been in a ton of stuff, but she was in Iron Man 3. I always remember her in that.
She was supposed to be the main villain, but then they didn't think they could market a female villain.
Yeah, good for them. Anyway, it's a really, really good movie. It's like a really cool horror movie that's like, again, like I it's like a broken record, but it hits all the notes that I like. It gets a very slow burn. It's very atmospheric. It's shot very well.
You love a high concept, boring movie.
I do. I really, really do. But it's not boring. I mean, it's really tense and it keeps you guessing. I feel like at certain points you feel like you kind of figured the movie out, and then it just keeps going and keeps like twisting things around. And the performances, specifically Rebecca Hall, who was also a producer on this movie, it's really, really good. And I saw like a lot of mixed reviews about this because this movie came out in 2020, and I saw a lot of mixed reviews about it. And after watching it, like I really don't understand it because like I think it's like really consistent the whole way through, and I feel like the ending, like it nails the ending. I think the ending is really interesting. and it kind of makes you recontextualize the rest of the movie in a different way. I loved like without giving too much away, like basically the plot is Rebecca Hall's husband is recently committed suicide, and then she feels like the house that they live in is haunted, possibly by him. And then like she finds all this weird like occult stuff, and the mystery just keeps going and going and going. I don't want to give stuff away, but like the movie deals with her sense of like reality. Like she's constantly like not sure if she's dreaming or awake, and there's a lot of like really kind of like, I wouldn't say like surreal, but there's a lot of like weird like dream logic kind of scenes that are shot really well. But the movie goes out of its way to like really disorient you as a viewer. You really feel like the same way that the main character feels. Like,
oh, it's like last week's movie.
They do this really cool thing where they keep like flipping the room will be one way, and then she'll go like out this way, and then everything will be turned around. But like it's not like it's like it's hanging off the ceiling. Like it's very subtle, and like it's one of those things where it's like if you you almost want to rewind it to be like, wait a minute, was that this way before? Like they do a lot of cool little camera tricks like that. There's a lot of neat little like, again, it's kind of like a ghost story or like a paranormal story. So there's these like silhouettes that she's seeing, but it's literally just like optical illusions from like furniture in her apartment. It's wild. Whoever like shot this movie, it's A+, but I really really liked it. I believe it's on HBO Max. I watched it on the Plex, but The Night House, highly recommended. My only critique would be it's 15 minutes too long, but I mean I feel like every movie is these days. But it's really really good, and if you like kind of slow burn horror movies with a lot of tension, and when it decides to ramp up, it's like gore. It's there. Like it's very good. I highly recommend it. I was a little on the fence, and I was waiting for like the other shoe to drop from a lot of the reviews I read. I was like, when does this movie get bad? And I'm happy to report, at least in my opinion, it doesn't get bad. And yes, it's on HBO Max. So if you're not fortunate enough to be on my Plex server, you can watch it on HBO Max. But The Night House, highly recommended. Good movie.
Oh, can I jump in real quick? Because I forgot to send in the Paprika thing.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I should have
No, you're fine. I fucking love that movie. Me and Nate did a show on it. I think the link is broken now. But it's a movie that makes me wish that all movies were animated. Like, if they could all achieve that quality, I would recommend watching the dub, because that movie is way too fucking busy to try and read and pay attention to what's going on at the same time the first view. The fucking pour one out for Satoshi Kon. That guy fucking rules. Like, that guy's was a master. Yeah. And the ultimate starter anime, by the way, is Cowboy Bebop. I can't believe nobody brought that up, but that's the one you want to start on.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I made a mistake of trying to watch Paprika, read Paprika, and use an exercise bike at the same time, and that was a huge botch.
That's just fucking absurd.
Exercising is just fucking useless. Thing 1, 2,
it says the trimmest guy on the show.
I get the same amount of pussy that I always did. It doesn't make a difference.
Oh, I know, but the bullying is probably better for you on this end.
But you do only drink bottled water.
Yeah, sparkling bottled water.
And you got a Bugatti.
No, you know what? The bullying doesn't work for me because I don't look big with my clothes on. I can't be just popping my top off.
But you look huge with your clothes off.
Hell yeah. Well,
at least you moved to a place where there's no winter, so you can just wear go shirtless and sleeveless all year round.
It fucks me up because it's oh yeah, I'm getting all the ads for Thursday Night Football on Prime. I'm like, oh, it's almost fucking September. It's 97 degrees here.
It's fucking wild, isn't it? Yeah. Well, the weird thing is it's still that hot here too, because the world is
planet
melting.
Is boiling. Dogs.
So ironically or surprisingly or through some whatever, so I watched a movie that was an hour and 26 minutes too long.
Hell yeah.
And it was also an Asylum joint.
What the hell?
Was it Shark Side of the Moon?
It was Shark Side of the Moon. No, it was Sean Young's Return to Form, Planet Dune.
Sean. I thought you said Sean Combs for a second. I was like,
no, I wish it was Sean.
Hold on.
I saw that on there.
Sean Young reprising her role as Chani.
Reprising her role as the Admiral of Space or whatever she's doing.
She wasn't that. She was Chani, if I remember correctly, right?
Was she?
Wasn't she Chani in the original?
No, Sean Young was fucking.
No, she was in Rachel and Blade Runner.
No, yeah. She's in fucking Dune too.
Is she?
Is she Chani?
Yes.
Okay.
Now I don't even remember.
Now I gotta look it up.
So she was in the David Lynch Dune? Doesn't matter.
I'm pretty sure she was.
She is in 2021's Planet Dune, a movie I cannot not recommend enough. It is just wall-to-wall trash. It's basically like a bad version of Tremors, but on like a planet made of poor CGI.
And yes, she was Chani in David Lynch's Dune.
It's a movie so bad that I forgot I watched it until Alex said, "Oh, I watched an Asylum movie." I was like, "Wait, I think I recently watched an Asylum movie." And lo and behold, I had.
What year did this come in?
2021.
So this
it was the sexy sister film to Denis Villeneuve's Dune.
What was the plot resembling Dune at all?
No. Here's the
now
plot.
I'm intrigued.
The plot is, hey, you are. So it takes basically. What was the main character from Battlestar Galactica? What was that?
I never saw
Adama?
No, the hotshot pilot. It was basically that archetype character.
Starbuck.
Okay. So Starbuck. That was
Katie Sackhoff, wasn't it?
Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah. Alec knows.
So it was basically like, hey, Starbuck, you shouldn't have rescued that cosmonaut because now they're going to steal all of our thoughts and ideas.
The Russians?
The Russians? Yes. So don't do that. As a result, I, Sean Young, president of space, am condemning you to run a rescue mission on this jalopy of a spaceship to this planet that is infested with sandworms.
Is this movie so low budget that only Sean Young showed up for like a day to film her presidency?
If Sean Young was on set for more than 45 minutes, I would be blown away.
And she's like the titled lead on the thing, I assume.
She is the titled lead.
Oh my
goodness.
Oh my goodness.
She looks like if you went to like a plastic surgeon convention, they said, "Cobble me up what you think Sean Young looks like from memory out of these parts and pieces." Like she's needed this role, I guess.
I wonder if she banged on the gates like she did with fucking Tim Burton in Batman Returns and showed up in like a fucking costume.
That's one of the funniest goddamn stories to me. Like,
not for nothing.
That Gogs, don't you?
Sean Young is Catwoman in that movie. Upgrade.
Yeah, it would have been better.
Yeah.
She went on this like publicity campaign when they were casting for Batman Returns for Catwoman. That she wanted to be Catwoman. Apparently, she literally like went to Tim Burton's house in a Catwoman costume and was like screaming at him. Was like going on TV in Catwoman costumes and all this stuff.
I'm 100% with Sean on this one. I'll take Sean Young over Michelle Pfeiffer because she's probably actually batshit insane and probably lives with several hundred cats. So this is like
there's nothing wrong with living.
Brought my own cats.
My own cats, my own cat suit, my own whips. But yeah, this is don't watch Planet Dune. Shark Side of the Moon sounds like the superior film. For what year did that come out, Alec?
That just came out.
Oh, well,
last week.
Asylum just putting in the work because
they release like 70 movies a year.
Yeah, they're good for 2 a week, just about. So
each one cost a nickel. So,
but yeah, I mean they got my residuals for whatever they got for Planet Dune.
Asylum is the equivalent of those like shovelware games that are on Steam or like PlayStation Store.
Yeah, it's but you're right. She was Chani in 1984's Dune. Don't watch Planet Dune though.
I'm surprised our resident David Lynch's Dune historian didn't know that.
I totally spaced out. Well, Chani, and you know what? I was gonna say she's barely in the movie, but she's in it way more
than the movie. Yeah.
You know what? You know what's weird about David Lynch's Dune? I almost think about it like Full Metal Jacket, like it's two totally separate movies, and I usually space out halfway through when they go to get Shawnee. When they introduce the Fremen part, I'm usually like, check out.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is. Like, I can totally see that. Anything else, Cox?
No, that was enough.
All right. Well, let's get into our feature presentation.
Talking about Rouge One.
Rouge One. Rouge. I don't know. How do you say one in French?
Un.
Yeah, there you go. Rouge Un.
This is fucking. I forgot this movie had a title drop in it.
Yeah. Also, like, as I was trying to Google this movie so I could download it, I forgot that the full title of this movie is Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. And God, that's so fucking annoying. Like that.
Can we talk about real quick before we get into the plot how this movie, watching it again, was like? I felt hopeful in a weird way, like I was unstuck in time. Like, oh yeah, they're gonna make all these cool Star Wars movies.
We can get into that right now because whatever, we're gonna blast through the plot.
I mean, the plot's still A to B.
I got. Instead of your reaction, Sean, I got immediately depressed.
Yeah,
because I was like, I remember. I think
no, that's what I'm talking about. Though I'm depressed, but I remember that hope.
Oh yeah, I remember
feelings.
I remember all of us.
Again.
I remember all of us talking about this movie because, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think all of us went into Rogue One with pretty low expectations.
I didn't know what to expect. I thought
was
this was
like
going to be
thumbs in the middle before we got
I was like, well, yeah, because we had heard about all the reshoots and
and the
all
trailer.
That shit. And you're like, what the hell did they
trailer
cobble
was
together?
really
Gareth Edwards hasn't done anything we liked up until this point.
Yeah, I would say I fucking hate him. So I would go.
I don't think he's directed anything since.
Well, he also didn't direct this movie apparently either.
Yeah, that's also no. Didn't he do he did King of the Monsters? Didn't he? The second Godzilla. Oh, he
did not.
No.
Anyway, but no, I was like, I got really sad because I remember, like, after seeing this, I'm like, oh, cool, they can do new things with Star Wars. Like, they're gonna go out and do something different, and nope. That didn't happen, like, at all.
And I forget who brought it up in that group text, but like, why didn't they? Because this movie made a shitload of money. Like, and it wasn't even a mainline movie. You know what I mean? This is a side movie.
But we've talked about this before. Like, they have, like, at this point, and I'll just throw Marvel in there too. They make money. It's just it's the property. Like, it'll make money no matter what.
Yeah,
like you could make David Lynch's fucking Star Wars, and people would go see it. Like, it's just, it doesn't matter. Like,
if you guys have never seen, I know TJ's seen it. The other two of you guys, I know you probably don't care, but like, if you ever watch David Lynch talking about fucking meeting George Lucas because they're like old school chums,
it's funny. The funniest goddamn.
It's like, he took me to this restaurant. They just have salad. I mean, I like salad, but Jesus Christ, like, can I get some? And he's talking about all these monsters.
He just kept talking about the
fucking headache. I called my lawyer and I was like, I gotta fucking get out of this.
David Lynch is like abject, like his object, like, normalcy is like the funniest thing about him. Like,
he's so the antithesis. It's like that Junji Ito versus
the art versus the artist Yeah, David Lynch is like totally different than what you'd expect from his films. Like,
he's like the regularist of regular dudes.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
I mean, I like salad, but Jesus Christ.
Oh man. Anyway, I might have to stitch in that line because it is funny. Anyway. Let's get into the plot. Okay. I feel like we have a lot of thoughts post movie, so let's go guys, go.
Okay, movie opens. You're introduced to arguably one of the top 3 villains of the Star Wars universe as he visits.
Pause.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
God, that was fast. That's a new record. Go ahead.
Just
3 seconds.
And that's usually all it takes, baby.
Yep.
They don't do the fucking title crawl.
Yes, God.
But don't they? But at first, I think they said we only do it on like mainline Star Wars. Like,
they did it for Stolo, I thought.
That's what I'm saying. I think they dropped Stolo. They stole all their ideas. But that's what I was about to say. Like, I think they said they didn't do it in this time because it wasn't like a mainline movie.
Because it wasn't an episode.
But they dropped that, right? Didn't they just start doing that anyone like they're because that's a good idea.
They learned no lessons from this movie at all.
This is like when Vince McMahon gave Triple H the reins for a little bit. He's like, never mind.
Oh, he has them now.
The audacity of this movie, it's like, how do you want to start a Star Wars movie? It's like, have you ever seen Inglourious Basterds? Just do that kind of.
Yeah. Orson Krennic that's precisely, and it's funny you bring that up. As I watched it, I was like, this is just like the fucking Jew Hunter. Like, this is
I'm sure I've mentioned this before, and I think we talked about it, but like, the brilliance of Krennic is that he's this like middle management asshole, and he just wants to be in charge. Like he has no
biggest. He goes to like the baddest like wizard in the world's like nightmare lava castle just to
miss me with that whole scene, by the way.
Like sniff at a promotion, which I'm not mad at, like as a scene, but I think it speaks to the fact that like the monstrous chip he's got on his very narrow shoulders.
Look at how he's fucking dressed.
Yeah, the drip is insane.
White. His drip is ridiculous. He's wearing a
tremendous.
Full ass cape the entire time.
Oh my god, yeah. So
I mean, Ben Mendelsohn is a fucking he's a treat. Like he's good in so many movies.
He's wonderful in this.
Not Ready Player One.
So anyway, Krennic shows up at Mad Mickelson's farming planet, I guess, and
this movie is also gorgeous, by the way.
Oh, it's absolutely the sites, the places they picked to film are gorgeous. He kills.
Yeah, thank God for a movie that's not completely filmed on sand.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean that shit's coarse.
Shout out to Planet Dune. So he shows up. He's like, hey, Mads Mikkelsen. We need you to come back to make our big energy machine because things ain't goods no more. So come on out. Here's my robot dudes. His wife and daughter run away.
Pause.
Yes.
Can I quickly touch on how much I love the voice masking thing in those helmets for his guards specifically, where you never know what they're saying. It's just like fucking horrifying.
Well, like the lore of the Death Trooper is like kind of wild. So shout out to the Death Trooper.
Oh, I'm gonna forget this later on, but did you all pick up the when they were looking through all the plans, the
Easter eggs, Dark
what was it? The hyperspace tracking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I didn't notice that till this viewing, I think, because it wasn't something that I know because this is.
I don't think it was in a movie. I think
because they don't introduce
the movie came in after this.
Yeah, The Last Jedi, right?
Yeah, that was the middle one, right?
Yeah, when it all fell apart.
Yeah, that came out a year after this, I believe, or maybe not. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Who gives a fuck?
Star Wars sucks.
Yeah, Star Wars is terrible now.
So, Krennic's robot dudes kill Mads Mikkelsen's wife. A young Jen Erso escapes to a hole in the ground where she is found by Ghost Dog. Go ahead.
Fucking brutal. This is a good way to introduce this movie too, because this movie. There's no way in hell you get this scene in current Star Wars, right?
You're not going to get as many bodies that gets bodied in this movie.
Which is fucking nuts because
his wife gets shot right on camera. It would. You know what they do now? They would show the blaster and then they'd show her body,
or they show a reaction on Mads. They wouldn't even show her body. They show Mad Mikkelsen's face drop.
It's crazy that we're talking about they never do this now. We're talking about this is some experimental movie they made in 1993.
Yeah, this is 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So now Jyn Erso is grown up. To set the stage, this is a fledgling resistance. This is post Order 66, but I guess pre-full. I mean, the Empire's in charge, but they're not.
It's not that fledgling. This is literally a month before New Hope.
They're fledgling enough that they don't want to go to war yet.
Well, I think what it is that they're actually they're making an attempt to show them as a resistance and a coalition and a rebellion as opposed to just another military like they kind of are in the mainline Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Also, point of order. I think canonical to movie the podcast. His character's name is Jen Asshole.
Jen
not
Asshole.
Jen,
Yeah, sorry, Jen Asshole.
Put some respect on her name.
Yeah.
She's the best female character Star Wars has put out.
Fact.
Here's a real hot take before we even get into it. K2SO is the best Star Wars character. Full stop.
K2SO is tremendous. So you meet Cassian.
That's Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, he's great in this movie. Like, I love. It's weird because I didn't really get this the first. I think I've seen this at least 3 times, but
yeah,
the first I never really got like Tony Daniel vibes from his voice, but I kind of did this time.
A little bit,
like a little, not too much.
There's a little bit
until Tony Daniel shows up for literally no reason.
He's in the movie. I didn't even.
Yes.
Oh shit.
Because when he says we're going to Seraph, why are they going to Seraph? So anyway,
I missed that.
So anywho, then you get to meet Cassian Andor, who is the bad boy of the Alliance, and he's just killing dudes and killing friends and getting information and feeling Spanish about it. It's sad, but he eventually learns about this pilot who is defected on Jedha, the former, I guess, capital or the where the Jedi temples used to be.
Shout out to Riz Ahmed, by the way, who's very
Riz
good
Ahmed
in this movie.
Oh, he's so good in the movie. He's great in everything. Go watch Sound of Metal. That movie's fantastic.
So Riz Ahmed's character, Bodhi, has turned himself in to Saul Guerrera's people on Jeddah saying, hey, I got information from Galen Erso. Help me out. And then Saul Guerrera is just doing all of his Colonel Kurtz, and
you got Forrest Whitaker just eating, digesting, shitting out the scene in every scene that he's in.
Yet again,
he's memed on a million times for this movie, but I love this fucking portrayal in this movie.
Oh, it's wonderful! Like his whole Apocalypse Now. Did they send you to kill me?
There's not much of me left.
Like, I fucking loved every fucking second.
I wanted to bring up something Alec brought up, and I didn't really think about it the first time I watched this movie because it kind of where we were public policy wise. The Mon Mothma is very fucking Liz Warren. This oh, we've got to bring him in for trials against this and that and the third. It's like their emperor is literally the space devil. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're like, Saul Guerrero is an extremist. I'm like, good. I'm pro bullying, pro extremism. Put that by my name too, because of course you would be an extremist. Also, on top of that, this is the only time in a Star Wars movie where you actually see guerrilla tactics besides what the Ewoks do. Yeah, they've got pipe bombs and IEDs and all kinds of shit. It's like a real war.
Also, the Cassian Andor character is interesting because, I don't know, I know that Han
because
Solo,
they acknowledge that they have to do actual dirt.
Star Wars is not good at morally ambiguous. Even in the good movies, they're not good at it.
They whitewash.
Han Solo is supposed to be the scumbag with a heart of gold, but he never does anything fiendish ever.
Unfortunately, I feel like they kind of walk back Cassian Andor partway through the movie, where it's we've all lost things we love and blah blah blah. It's I liked it better when you were just the guy that just did stuff.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'd still it's baby steps for me because at least they went the first way. Him literally just doing whatever he had to do to achieve his goal is that's new for Star Wars. Because
that scene where he kills that guy lest he confess to the Empire what he knows. That's oh shit, this guy's
But again, it wouldn't be shocking in a real movie. But Star Wars is usually written for babies, and they don't do that well at all.
Speaking of babies, I think there's an incredibly strong scene. God, I know we're interrupting, but I think everybody's seen this movie, right? We
really need to sit. Here's the plot. They need to go get the Death Star plans. They assemble a fucking dirty dozen, fucking Suicide Squad to do it. They do it. They transmit it. Everybody dies. It's awesome. It's got
the end is basically Saving Private Ryan without any Private Ryan.
Yeah,
nobody gets out.
It ends at fucking Miracle Mile, and then it ends in the worst way possible afterwards, which we can touch on. But there's a really strong scene when they're doing the city fight in in fucking Fallujah.
That's one of the best parts of the movie. Like
where you hear a little kid start crying, and like this is like something they would never put in one of these other movies. Like, oh yeah, there are like this is a war. There are like civilians getting fucked up. Like it's like, oh yeah, this is. Jen
Erso's asshole saved that child just to have her get like a metric ton of rubble jammed down her gullet in about the next 40 minutes.
But like, of course, they have to fucking weaken this part because Mr. Doctor, I've got the death sentence on 10 systems, just happens to pop into frame. Like, why? I didn't need that. Like, I know much into Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The stuff, like Gog said it in the chat, and I totally agree with him. This put the war in Star Wars. Like, the battle scenes in this movie feel, I mean, I hate to use the word grounded, but it feels more like
gritty.
Yeah.
This is if you had these same scenes with guns and bullets instead of little laser guns, like, you'd feel like it was a fairly modern.
Well, it's going to be super violent. It's just because, like Alex said, because of the projectiles, it doesn't seem as violent.
Yeah, I mean, people are dying left and right.
There's a scene where Baze just walks by and just straight taps a guy in the head.
Yeah,
like while he's on the ground. Like this is not. Also, like 100% Baze and Chirrut are a couple, right? Like that's what I'm supposed to take from this movie. Like.
Absolutely.
I don't see how you could read it any other way.
Baze loves him so much. Like it's like
also
and Donnie Yen is just great is Donnie Yen in this movie?
Those two characters are fantastic. And the fact that this movie, this is another thing you won't see in modern Star Wars. The fact that this movie had restraint enough not to stick a fucking Jedi in the movie or was somebody with a lightsaber. Because like I guarantee if they did this now, like Donnie Yen would either be like a Jedi or like he would have had a lightsaber, like
fallen Jedi.
His stick would have turned into a lightsaber.
Exactly, like at the end or so.
The movie goes out of its way to make the Force less goofy, and I'm fine with the Force being goofy because it's a fucking movie about magic or whatever. But they almost make it like a religious mysticism with these guys, like the when they say "May the Force be with you" before they go do all that stuff. It almost feels like the God's on our side type thing.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel as like like goofy.
Like
this
literally,
movie is not silly at all.
So that does lead me to one of my complaints, and this is more this is a function of. When they made the original Star Wars, that was supposed to be it, right?
Yeah.
In A New Hope, they act like the scenes where they reference the Force, everybody's like, "What the fuck is that?" Yeah. And like they now, like everybody knows about it. Like again, like you mentioned earlier, like the rebellion is literally fighting against a magical devil wizard, but like none of that is like expressed in A New Hope. So it's like I know like why that is, but I can't say that it's not like it doesn't like it's like. It kind of bothers me a little bit. I'm going to be honest, and I know
it's also like I don't know.
There's no way around it.
No, this movie's got like too much lifting to do.
A function of A New Hope being a massive hit that nobody expected it to.
Yeah.
To
I don't
be
know.
like, it can still bother you, but there's no like. I don't know how they could possibly have like written around it, unless the whole universe got Men in Black with the neuralizer.
Well, I mean, the way around it is to like you set the things like you don't make this movie basically.
Well, the idea is I glean from this movie and Gogs. You're expanding universe guy. Maybe you know this. Has the Death Star always been a giant lightsaber? Like it's powered by the same thing?
This was never, to the best of my knowledge, this is wholly belongs to this movie, which I am totally.
I'm fine with that.
As far as like,
it's a laser, it's a laser, right?
It's a big kyber crystal laser. Makes sense to me. There's nothing mystical about a lightsaber. Anyone can use them. Like, so that makes sense to me. I love that. I know we talked about it in the chat. I love how that, I think Alec brought it up. Like the flaw in the Death Star is not just some stupid like MacGuffin now. It's an intentional redemption device for a man forced to do this after his family's been killed. Like that's
a good idea.
Yeah,
Powerful.
this man's life work destroyed billions of people.
Yeah.
And like, so no, that's all great. And then
well,
to go back to
the fucking the I'm become Death Destroyer of Worlds, right?
Yeah,
it's like the Oppenheimer thing.
Yeah. So like, and to go back to the comment about, I guess like the I was just sort of thinking about this in A New Hope. The first time you even experience the Force or see the Force happen in The New Hope, right, is when that one general is talking shit around the table to Darth Vader.
Specifically, the scene I was thinking about.
Yeah, like
his devotion to that dying religion.
That dying religion is not, is not whatever divine the source of the plans or the rebel base.
This is another one of those like retroactive things that kind of like fucks everything up because you got to tie it in, right? Because I forget if TJ mentioned it or one of you guys did, or I saw it in a video somewhere where Vader in the first movie is just kind of like a flunky to the point where Tarkin just like basically tells him to sit down and shut up, and he does it. But now, because we understand who Darth Vader is, we have to go like repower him, and now like
saw that it was in a YouTube. It was in a review of this movie actually, because I remember that point being brought up, and I was like, yeah, that is a valid point. Yeah.
Also, well, I know we've talked about it to death, but like, can we just not have another Moff? There's like more Moffs, right? Do we have to have the fucking CG Tarkin? Like, everything that they tie into the fact that this movie has to take place literally minutes before the other movie is the weakest part of the movie. Like,
I hate that. I hate the fucking all the Tarkin, the CGI Leia, the fucking scene, the Darth Vader scene, both of Darth Vader scenes. Honestly, I can't stand the fucking gold leader, like all that bullshit where they reuse footage from A New Hope. It's like, why? None of it is needed. None of it.
Right.
You could have cast somebody else as
Leia. Love all of it.
Leia and Tarkin.
I fucking hate the Vader. Here's like, I'm okay with Vader showing up in the Executor and the things crashing into him. Like, that's fine if you want to just have that in the breathing, or if you even have to do the fucking the blockade runner, because like, I think subtracting Vader from it, the scene where they're like, help, that horror scene where it's just a tunnel, they're banging on the door trying to get out, and if you just hear the breathing or something and they cut it, I'm good with that. But then they have to like bring him in there, and he has to go ape shit, and like they try to make him look stiff, like, so it's not like super incongruent, but it just doesn't work. And whoever said that, like, get of sound alike for James Earl Jones, because like, God bless him, but he sounds atrocious.
He sounds like
he's dying.
God bless James Earl Jones, right? Like, the guy's a brilliant actor. He's been a brilliant actor for like 100 years. I think he's 90 years old. He sounds old. And like, I hate to say this, and like, I know nerds would have been mad if they did this, but like, I've played Star Wars video games for 30 years now. There's plenty of people that sound just like Darth Vader. At this point, fucking Disney could probably get an AI to sound like him. Like,
there's filters you could run something through to make it sound like it.
There's plenty of talented voice actors that are like sound-alike.
I'm good if you still want to just pay him his scale.
Yeah, that's fine.
Use the sound of his voice. Yeah, whatever. That's fine. But like, it's like, we want to tie it. That doesn't even work in the story. That's like pure fan service. Like, look, we got James Earl Jones. I'm like, but he doesn't sound anything like he did at the time period. So now you're making me think about the casting as opposed to the actual movie.
Well, it's like, I don't know, Sean, I know you like YMS, but I don't know if you watched any of his like Lion King, the live action, or CGI.
Yeah.
So they put James Earl Jones back in that, and it's the same thing. Like, he just sounds old. Like, he doesn't like deliver his lines the same way as he used to. He's saying the same lines, but he's 40 years older, and he's already an old man. Like, it's I don't know. It was a bad decision. All this stuff, like, and I understand that they wrote Tarkin into this movie, and he's important to the plot. I don't have a problem with that. Either recast him or just
show him from the back.
Just show him in shadow or something. Like, you could. Like, I have refused to believe. And I don't know. I know fucking Star Wars fans are fucking retards, but like, you're telling me that you don't recast Tarkin and you do makeup up and make him look like fucking what's his name? That like you wouldn't recognize Peter Cushing. Thank you. That you wouldn't. That's Tarkin. Like, it's the same. My same complaint about, we talked about the Mandalorian.
Or just don't do it.
Yeah, or
just
don't do it. Yeah,
it's a gigantic galactic organization. They can have some other.
Yeah, he didn't play any part where it had to be.
Or put him on like a video screen.
It's like, it's the same problem. that I have with Marvel Comics where Wolverine's on every team at the same time. It's like, there's other dudes. Like, get a different dude.
Well, and then, like, the CGI Leia is, like, really bad. Like, just Leia, like, Princess Leia.
At least she's only on the screen for, like, 10 seconds.
Carrie Fisher has a daughter that looks very much like her mother. Just cast her. Like, put her
Yeah,
in
you think people wouldn't get who it is by the outfit?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like, I don't understand.
We gotta make sure they know.
And I think I said this way back when, but I still feel this way. I think that Disney is just like, they're just waiting to do an all fucking CGI original cast Star Wars movie. And then people
it's coming. It's like when you
eat
said
that shit up. Like,
was it you that was talking about how they're just going to replace graphic design with AI 100% and not even pay anybody?
Yeah, don't get me started. Yeah, look at the stuff this program called Midjourney is doing. You can't even tell that it's not real artwork, and it's literally just people putting in word prompts, and this like it's over. Like it does graphic design, it does painting, it does illustration. It can literally do anything. It's done. There's not like commercial people like Disney. They're not. Why are they going to hire character creators? Why are they going to hire set designers and artists?
Yeah, especially when everybody's like going to join a union here soon. They're
just going to get an AI to do it. Like it's kind of sad and depressing, but whatever. Anyway, sorry, I got off topic.
Anyway, back to the fucking movie we watched. That was awesome.
Is this the second Star Wars movie you saw in the theater? Because I swear to God, when we saw the first of the sequel trilogy, it was like the first time you'd seen one in a theater.
Yeah, I'd never seen any of the. Oh no, I saw Phantom Menace. I don't think I saw the other two prequels in theaters. I saw them, but I don't think I watched them in theaters. Yeah. Phantom Menace, I definitely saw in a theater. And then The Force Awakens, and then this.
Yeah.
As far as like, so I have no like built-in affinity for Star Wars. Like this to me is by far the best movie. The only things that bothered me, like you could have blown my brains out when they showed C-3PO and R2-D2. Like,
it's the worst.
Gives a
why
fuck.
You need that shit.
Like that's the shit that is for children.
Yeah.
Like, who cares about those two aside from little kids? And little kids probably shouldn't be watching this movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
That and the Leia at the end.
Oh,
the other like all the Darth Vader stuff, I didn't mind. I thought it was cool seeing him kill a bunch of nobodies in a tunnel. And yeah, it was like a horror movie for like a minute where they're just like, got to get this thing out of there, and he's just, it's like Michael Myers slowly wearing down.
If that was a short they released before the movie, that 2 minutes of it, that's fucking awesome, but like I didn't need it stitched up. I get what's going on. You don't have to like literally walk me into the other movie.
Yeah, that's how I feel. And I feel like, and I could be wrong, and who knows, because, you know, again, like we mentioned briefly earlier, there was a lot of recuts and reshoots. Like, all of those things feel ancillary to the movie. Like, not the Tarkin thing, maybe, because it seems like they did write him into the script that way. But, like, everything else feels like somebody was like, oh, we need to put this in. Because I feel like it's counter to the rest of the tone of the movie. Like, I could be wrong.
I'm sure we talked about it before, because I know we've talked about all these movies a lot. But, like, I still find it incredibly ballsy that they killed the entire cast in a nuclear holocaust. Well, some of them were already dead, but they made sure they stayed super dead. Like, even at the end, when we were in the theater, I'm like, there ain't no fucking way they're not going to survive, because they already had their 5 near-death experiences.
Yeah.
They'll be fine.
Yeah.
And nope.
Yeah.
Just, like, vaporized. Like, can we talk about briefly, like, I remember the big, like, hubbub about this movie was there weren't any characters and, like, you weren't attached to any of them. I feel way more attached to almost all, especially K2SO, but, like, all of them have, like, a motivation I understand, and, like, I genuinely feel for these people. But, like, it's a... Hang on 1 second.
Bless you.
Thank you. Dude, this is the first Star Wars movie where you feel like the characters are a part of a big whole, right? Like a butthole. Yes. But like they're there to do a task or 2 tasks as part of a group, as opposed to like the movie revolving around them. Yeah. And like the entire universe doesn't revolve around these guys. It's like we gotta get from point A to point B and get this thing, and that's the movie, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's crazy that the critique was that there's not enough characters, like you just said. I think even like Riz Ahmed, who has he doesn't have as much screen time as everybody else. Like, I feel like I know that character better than I know a lot of the other. Like, I understand his character and motivations a lot more than I understand like fucking Finn. You know what I mean? Like, it was in 3 movies. Like,
poor Riz Ahmed was basically just a fucking Amazon driver for the Empire, and then he gets ripped into this scenario and gets a fucking Fallujah grenaded like in a transport, sending a message. Like, it's fucking dark what happened to that guy.
But they also do a really good job of like framing these people that work for the Empire as like human beings, and it's like, we know what we're doing is awful. Like, we understand. Like, some of us understand that. Like, and Riz Ahmed's like, hey, he said, I could do something. You know what I mean? I could make a difference.
Well, what you just said is like one of the, and this isn't my thought. This is something I've heard somebody say, but I completely agree with. It's one of the biggest like misfirings of the sequel trilogy. Because you have Finn, who is like basically a reformed stormtrooper, right? But then he has no problem just like wantonly destroying stormtroopers left and right. Yeah. Like, shouldn't he have be like, wait a minute, these guys are just like me. They're but again, like, Star Wars is written for babies, so it's like good. He's a good guy now, so he kills the bad guys. There's no like moral conundrum of like,
let's not even get started with Finn, who like in a world that has like fully automated robot assistants still is a infantryman whose specialty is janitorial. Like, his MOS is like, why are we mopping? Also, why is he mopping every facility in the Empire?
Right? Yeah. Oh, what a piece of shit.
I think somebody was saying this movie felt grounded, and like, I think it's important to like really talk, or just at least touch on, like, this movie is one of the few movies where you see it at ground level versus the artillery and the ships and stuff. This perspective of the boots on the ground guys as these like giant death machines are flying around and stomping all over the place. Like, the AT-ATs feel so really fucking terrifying.
When they coming out of like the fucking smoke, and
that was so cool. Yeah,
scene where he shoots it with the rocket,
and it doesn't off.
It doesn't do shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no.
But and then continuing that scene, when the air support comes in, oh, so cool.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere, and you're just like, fuck yeah.
The guy was like.
It's almost like what is it, Dunkirk, when Tom Hardy's plane comes back out of nowhere, and
Tom Hardy should be in this movie.
Tom Hardy should be in all movies.
Like the little guy who's like manning like the sling mounted M60 ion cannon and just fucking letting rip as they like circle around that AT-AT. Like, all of the, like, I would say like all the ground combat is really good and interesting. Agreed. Like, it's probably the closest thing we got to that is probably the assault on Hoth in Empire.
Yeah.
Right. But even that didn't carry anywhere near like the weight of like this, right?
But like, even the guys in like the artillery that you don't even know their names, that you spent, or infantry, not artillery.
Yeah.
That you spent like 3 seconds with, like, you care when they get shot.
Yeah.
Like the main guy and the guy, I don't know any of their names. I don't think anybody knows their names. They probably don't even have names.
The guy that was like the
Meshi or something.
The guy, the like squad leader too of like
Melshi, I think.
The X-wing factions that comes down to like rescue the guys. When he dies, it feels like important.
Well, he's like the general. Well, that's the other thing I was going to say. Like, even in movies that are full of space combat, the space combat in this movie feels great. It feels like
that scene. What do they call it? The pile driver, or whatever they call it.
Hammerhead Corvette, or whatever.
The Hammerhead Corvette that pushes the Star Destroyer into the
that
other one to destroy the
dope.
gate. That was almost as good as which Sean ruined for me afterwards, the hyperspace thing from The Last Jedi.
How did I ruin it?
Because you said, why don't they just do that all the time? Which
is true.
You're 100% right. Why don't they just take their ships into hyperspace?
Really great in that scene too is where they're like, all right, time to bug out, and like the one Mon Calamari cruiser just crashes right into a fucking Star Destroyer.
It smashes into the executor, and getting ready to go, and just like boom, it's like, oh, they just fucking showed up.
Awesome, but like, it's funny, like, there's so many things that this movie does that happen in every other Star Wars, but I didn't think about till now. It's like, could you imagine how horrifying it would be if you were outside of some military base in Iowa and a fleet or like a whole, like a carrier wing of Chinese MiGs just appeared?
Yeah.
Like, how do you even plan for shit like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh, great, a whole fucking battalion just warped in here.
Well, I mean,
like,
they
instantly.
had a whole planet condom until they didn't.
Sure.
Yeah.
God damn, this movie's awesome.
It's
like,
really fun.
Yeah, you get every character gets a death that feels important.
Yeah.
Including the robot, who might have the most heartbreaking of all of them.
Yep.
Oh, 1,000%. Oh, there's some rep. Oh, there's one.
I also like
Yeah.
I like the little sequence right before that where Jen Asshole gives him the gun. I thought
Yeah.
that was cool. Like, it's a fun little moment. Like,
Alan Tudyk did more as that android in probably 15 total minutes of screen time than whatever his name is has done with C-3PO in 9 movies.
Fucking awesome. Like, I thought I told you to stay in the ship. It's like, oh, there's a lot of explosions for 2 people blending in.
Yeah.
I'm here to take them to jail. Which jail?
I'm going to imprison them in prison.
There's actually like a really interesting scene with K2SO that I didn't pick up really on until this viewing, which is that part where he had to take another one of his type of droids that kind of like suck its brain out.
Yeah.
But he comes out of that kind of staggered.
Yeah.
And kind of
also
up, like he didn't want to do it, and it probably was a huge burden on him.
A few minutes before that, when he sees the other one walking, and he's looking at it kind of like, oh, these poor bastards are still like, they're still being imprisoned, and they have no idea. When you think about like,
I wouldn't have got that if it wasn't
the droids that aren't like sentient,
right?
Achieving sentience, like what kind? Like that's horrifying.
Yeah, I wouldn't normally get that unless they had a robot that specifically was like, I am throwing off the shackles of my people. Like,
you mean like in Solo?
Yeah, which is super dark because they end up just shoving that thing into the ship, its brain, and like shutting it off.
Yeah.
There's a really great look. I didn't notice it in the movie theater or the last couple times I watched it, but when the mushroom cloud is coming, when they're about to get vaporized and they're hugging each other, and then Andor just kind of like looks terrified for like half a second before the flash hits.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's
all the special effects with the destruction, like when they blow up.
They blow up
Forrest Whitaker's base. That was awesome. That was
I also love that they kept the antiquated technology. Like, it's like, oh, it's an actual tape. Like, we still have this. Like,
I like that.
Well, I was thinking about that too, because like they're on these ships throwing like physical switches and stuff. Yeah. It's very interesting that they kind of kept like retro futuristic technology.
I like it though. I think it works.
Oh no, I'm not mad at it.
It's kind of like when they go back to Alien movies. Like they always kind of make the tech in Alien movies kind of goofy.
It's just very functional.
Thoughtful. Yeah.
The whole bit when all of the explosions, sort of the slow, like the pace of the explosion, like just being like sort of terrifying, and then pulling back when they pull back Kinjeta and you see the flame tail like escaping the atmosphere. It's fucking wild.
In a weird way, it reminded me of that End of the World Australian movie that we watched.
Yeah, no, that's exactly when they were on the shore. That's precisely what I thought of. And I also say, shout out to them for not making them kiss or anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they didn't need to be romantically involved. They could just be 2 people who've been through it, just supporting each other through this without any sort of need for romance or anything. And that probably took as much restraint. Actually, this whole movie is a weird, like masterclass in restraint in certain ways, because they could have done a lot of cheesier things.
This movie
it's weird because it's restrained in some ways and also absolutely cuts loose in ways that no other Star Wars movie has in other ways.
Like this movie
it's an odd dichotomy there.
It's like nearly a miracle compared to all the other shit that came out before and after. You know what I mean? Like, how did this happen? Because like
it's
even
like,
now,
especially with its production,
it's like Chronicle.
Yeah, it's for sure. And it fucking
how the fuck is a Josh Trank, Max Landis movie starring Dane DeHaan awesome?
Yeah, and it's great.
The movie, like, I actually almost benefits knowing what happens at the end watching it now, because like you just like feel this sense of impending dread, and all the characters, like everybody feels doomed. Like, and now that especially knowing what happens, like you can pick up on it. Like,
well,
you know, she has that speech where she's like, "We're going to take the chance, and we're going to take the next chance until we either win or we run out of chances."
Well, there's a scene where Riz Ahmed sort of thinks like they might get out of it, and then that gets kind of squashed. But I will say this movie, I think this is a hallmark of a really good movie. I know exactly what's going to happen in this movie. I've seen it. Like, I've probably seen this movie like 5 or 6 times now. I really like this movie. Shocker. But every time I watch it, just like every time I watch Braveheart, I'm like, maybe this time he'll make it.
Right.
Like, maybe, maybe this is it. Maybe this, because I still, like, I am burdened by like my desire for them to succeed, and my I like these characters. Whoever.
Oh, don't worry, Gogs. There's a chance that they'll go back, erase this version of the movie, and make the fucking Gone with the Wind now with a happy ending version, and that's all you ever see.
Frankly, dear, I love you. Let's get married.
But yeah, like this movie's like it's so like it's so.
That movie used to have a war, isn't it?
All right, come on.
Whoever had said that there was no character development in this movie is out of their fucking mind.
That was like the major complaint in this.
Mads Mikkelsen has more character than most of the people in like the prequels, or most of the people in the Star Wars universe, and he's maybe got 15 minutes of screen time.
It's fucking grim where he's like, "Stop! I did it," and he's like, "Oh, okay, cool. Kill them all anyway."
Yeah,
like
I don't know. It's the scene where she's like, this is gonna turn into the fucking Chris Farley show.
Yeah.
But like the scene where she's watching the hologram of her dad.
Yeah.
Felicity Jones she's not saying anything. She's just emoting, and it's like sad and beautiful and like tragic
and wet and shit's dark and like it's just like
and the world is literally exploding around them. Like
when you see Saw Gerrera's eyes when he realizes that the Death Star hit the planet.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you gotta get the fuck out of here." Right now.
Well, she's like, "The last time I saw you, you threw me in a fucking cave." And he's like, "I knew you were safe." Like I did everything's about I did my job. You know what I mean? I did what I was supposed to do.
Well, not even that. That's the scene. I don't know. I liked that. I loved that scene.
Yeah.
I don't feel like he did that from a
where he's like
disconnected part, but he's like,
there's only so long I could keep your name.
People will figure this
secret.
out, right? Like you could see the pain in Forrest Whitaker. Just I don't know. I'm trying to think I don't think there's a bad performance in this movie. Like even the fodder characters that they're just throwing into the meat grinder are just
I think this is wall to wall the best acted Star Wars movie, and I don't even know if that's like arguable. Like there's nothing like even Empire, which is a movie I love. I'm not gonna like retroactively be like that movie's not very good. You scruffy fucking nerf herder, like that line is terrible and that line delivery is terrible. And like let's be honest, it's not good. Like there's nothing like that in this movie.
No. Well, there's a Jen Erso's like let's come together speech at the base is felt a little cheesy and
a little.
Yeah, but you need a little.
You needed that. I don't disagree.
I don't mind.
And then everybody's like, nah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's see how this plays out politically.
I do kind of love the fact that they actually didn't rally around her. Like, I kind of like that the outcome of that scene wasn't, let's go. It was like, no, we'll figure it out. You might be full of shit. And then when they go off on their own, you get all the Warhawks that are like, fuck yeah, let's do this. And then just
you have the guys yelling in the back, the finger thing means the taxes.
Yeah, like it's, I don't know, man. And like I'm a huge Star Wars mark, so just seeing like fucking Mon Calamari cruisers and stuff like pop in and like do work.
Well,
and
I
like,
didn't notice until this viewing that the Mon Calamari admiral was named Radis, and that's the name of the ship in the sequel trilogy.
Oh shit! I didn't pick that up either.
So the like up until this point, I'd say my favorite space. Well, I mean, everyone loves the trench run, But there's the scene in
the assault on the second Death
Star
is my favorite.
The second Death Star, third movie, where they come out of hyperspace and there's like a trillion TIE interceptors literally just flying at the screen. That shit's dope. But the space battles in this and the atmospheric battles in this, the actual dogfighting, are just so much fucking better. Like it's light years.
It's like we were talking with the AT-ATs. It's like seeing them from the level of the ground makes you realize, like, and this is a retroactive thing. It's like, oh, this is why these things are designed that way, not for function, but because they're fucking horrifying. They're demoralizing. You know what I mean? When you see this thing.
Say one thing about the AT-ATs though, and it's something that's bothered me in like all.
It had a face.
No, it's the fact that like stormtroopers run beside them. That seems really dangerous.
Isn't the whole point that they're a people carrier?
Well, they even show that more in this movie than they've ever shown it before. There was one with the hollowed out middle.
Why would they run next to the damn AT-ATs? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
I mean, why do ground soldiers run next to a tank?
I do have one.
Do they?
Yeah, it's Operation Human Shield.
Yeah.
I do have one minor complaint about the movie in general, and it's the score. Not that the score is bad, it's good. It's too Star Warsy. Yeah, it's too heroic, and I'm not saying like they should have made it fucking mule variations or something, but give me something like kind of dark and weird and morose.
They should have just played Sabotage the whole time.
Shit. They should have just had MC Chris do the fucking Corvette. No, but like
that guy.
Yeah,
he's still around.
Yeah, I know. I went and saw him once. I thought he was great, but now he still does the same show like 20 years later.
50 years old.
He's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's bad when a show gets run into the ground and nobody ever grows or evolves. But
welcome to the 321st episode of Movie Podcast.
Oh fuck! Does anybody else have anything before we get into the?
No, I think we covered it all.
No, like I just. It's amazing how much I haven't watched this since it came out. Like, so that's what, 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
You all right?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, just had a deep burp come up out of nowhere. Man, this like I remember watching it then. I remember me and Gogs the next day. He took me to Deep Pasquale's for the first time, and that's where the first time I got their meatball sub. And the whole ride there and the whole ride back the next day, we just talked about Rogue One for like, I guess we were together probably like 3 hours, and probably 2 hours and 50 minutes of it was just talking about Rogue One. And I was just sitting there like, man, that was awesome.
We all saw this together,
remember
right?
this? That was awesome. Yeah. Remember that? That was awesome. I'm pretty sure we did, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I'm sure we did. A lot of these tentpole movies for a while we all watched together.
Yeah, now we're all burnt out on all of them.
So. Now I hate movies and comic books and Star Wars.
It's amazing how things change in 4 years.
Oh, how the turntables.
But goddamn, this movie fucking slaps. And even if you take Darth Vader out of it and just don't even call it a Star Wars movie, like this movie still fucking slaps. This movie's tremendous.
1,000%.
You give a shit. Like I knowing exactly at what point everybody was gonna die, still like every time like got a little choked up watching them all die. Especially when what was Chewie, what was his friend's name? I can't remember.
Albus.
Yeah.
Hayes.
Like when he is about to get it and he looks back at Chirrut one more time and says whatever the thing he says is about the Force himself after telling him the whole time, like, you're ridiculous. Like, stop being ridiculous. Then he goes ham with his laser Gatling gun or whatever you want to call it.
That gun fucking rocks, by the way.
Like, that's something about this. Like, they did some neat stuff with the weapons.
Yeah.
That I feel like they tried to do in the new trilogy, and it worked to varying degrees. Sometimes it was okay, and sometimes it was really dumb.
They even gave Krennic that like fruity like a patent pistol. Like the fucking the scene with Chirrut where he goes when they're at the Rain Planet, the Kyber mine or whatever, and he's like, "You going by yourself?" Yeah. good luck. I don't need luck. I got you. And he sits there for a second, just kind of like, fuck, and he jumps out there and follows him.
When they take them all to see Saw and they blindfold Cherry, he's like, are you kidding me? I'm blind.
Yeah.
Dude, the scene where he's like, he's blind, and it's like, what, is he fucking deaf too?
All right, man. 5 knuckle shuffle time. Alec.
10.
Boom.
This movie is outstanding. And I said it in the text and I'll say it again. Like, I doubt this is ever going to creep into like my top 5 movies whenever I like really rate them and think about them. But like, this is still like one of my favorite movies and one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Respect.
Like, I fucking love it. It's so good. Like, it's probably top 25 maybe. Like when they get those lists, you get a little bit further down and you have some leeway to like throw in some oddball choices.
Yeah, and you can put a movie that came out in the last 10 years because if you're a serious film person and you like a movie that came out within 3 years, you're an idiot.
Yeah. But like this movie is so good. It's like kind of astounding, like both how it came about and what's happened since then, both with like the movie and the people involved in it. Like the writers haven't written anything since this movie, basically.
That's wild.
Like, and I'm not sure which one was the original writer or which one was the one who like rewrote and re-stitched stuff together, but both of them, this is pretty much the last thing they did. They have some like upcoming stuff, but it's nothing I've heard of. Gareth Edwards, this is the last thing he did, and that was 2016, 6 years ago.
Wow,
like,
really?
Yeah.
I guess he realized he's a shitty director when he saw somebody else make his movie, and he's like, "Fuck, this is really good."
We got cuffed by Hollywood.
Oh, did you all see? I'm sorry. I heard cucked by Hollywood. So the 2 directors that made Batgirl, they put a statement out that said they'd be open to make another DC movie.
Oh my god.
Oh, man. Poor guys.
Drop an F in the chat.
Yeah, you fucking losers. Like,
you don't see how DC treats us when you guys aren't around. It's so much different.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt.
But like everybody top to bottom, like the performances are great, the effects are great, except for the face de-aging stuff. But that's never good, no matter what movie it's in.
Yeah.
Well, except for Tron Legacy.
Oh God.
I would like, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't like to see it because it might ruin this one. I would love to see the Gareth Edwards version or Edmonds version that like they totally recut. Like, what did he do? Like, how often do you hear about studio making adjustments and it makes it better?
Yeah,
like not
never.
often. It's always
I think
that
this
they
is
fucked it up and made it
literally
worse.
the only example of it ever being good.
And apparently it was like 50% of the movie. Like, it wasn't like a couple scenes. It was like literally half the movie they redid.
But yeah, this movie slaps. Like, this has got to be something I throw into like more into my regular rotation of shit that I watch that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Gogs.
That's a 10. I don't think I can objectively look at this movie. Honest, like I love everything about this movie. I love even the stuff I shouldn't love. Like I like all the stuff for A New Hope because it makes young Gogs happy.
Did you like the when they showed C-3PO and R2-D2 for a second?
You can't like that part.
I didn't need it, but it didn't invoke anything other than
But like, it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make sense why they're there, does it?
Yeah.
Aren't they somewhere else at that point?
They're going to end up
the transport is Leia.
End up on Leia's transport. Like when everybody else runs away.
No, Alec, you're right.
But
it's fucking stupid.
It is stupid, and also, why are they always like unattended? Don't they have jobs?
Yeah,
like,
why
are
they
you
just
doing
hanging
again?
Out? Yeah.
Well, 3PO never has a job. At least R2 like connects to the X-Wing fighters sometimes. And
3PO is a translator droid in a galaxy where literally it seems like everyone speaks every language.
I mean, the Empire did something right though. They made English everywhere, which was good.
Well, no, you have like the glorp glop people, but like everybody understands it. Like in the beginning of New Hope, like Uncle Owen is talking to Jawas, and they're like, and he's talking to him. It's not like he doesn't understand what they're saying.
But he can't speak to his moisture evaporators, right? So that's what he needs.
Oh yeah, you're right, guys. He's like a translator to like machines,
right? Yeah, and people, but yes.
And people.
Yeah.
Well, he also understands protocol too. So like, he'll tell you to not put your elbows on the table at your girlfriend's mom's house.
Tell which one's the blip blop fork versus the glip glip fork.
Yeah.
And which hand to shake with.
So where the woman stands 3 feet behind you,
and wet hand, dry hand when you're making fried chicken.
So, please extend your right hand, otherwise it'll be your butthole, sir.
I don't know. I love this movie. I love all the characters in it. It's brave. They never did it again. To Alex's point, it's
probably never will.
Probably never will. To Alex's point, the movie itself is so strong that it doesn't need to be a Star Wars to make it a good movie. I think that's a point that should be reiterated. Like, it doesn't have to rely on the fact that it's in that universe. It could have been a big crazy reveal at the very end that it was the universe. I don't know. I love the fact that it makes
a Star Wars movie. That would be something. Like, oh shit, I didn't even know this was going to be a Star Wars.
A Star Wars movie.
Holy, yeah. But, it's like fucking Glass.
I was going to say, has that ever been pulled off except for
Unbreakable? I don't think so.
It wasn't Glass. What was the one before that?
Split. Yeah.
But yeah, it's
more like
the combat's
shit.
amazing. I don't know. I fucking love it.
Nailed it.
It's cute. It's a 10 for me, dog. And there's a shit joke, and so I will now move on to TJ.
Well,
why don't you give it a 7?
No. I really like this movie, but it's an 8. He's gonna give it a dog.
Ooh.
The Star Wars shit just knocks it down. Like, and every time that stuff comes up on screen, I'm like, ooh, I wish that wasn't there.
Isn't that a fucking sad commentary on the state of this universe? That it's like the Star Wars parts of the Star Wars movie are the worst part of the movie.
And I have to reiterate that I fucking adore this movie. Like, I really am into it. Like, I'm into the characters. I'm into the setting. I'm into the fighting. And then, like, Shrek Tarkin shows up, and I'm just like, I want to fucking kill myself.
Get down to my Death Star. I can't do it. But
it's so bad. And, like, it's so not... You already got a great villain. I mean, we've talked about him throughout the show, but, like, Ben Mendelsohn as Krennic is fantastic. And the Tarkin is not even needed. And then, to add insult to injury, the Tarkin is a fucking cartoon. Yeah. And it's like, I know, as a human being, I understand that other character isn't supposed to be some glip glop alien, because you can get away with that. You know,
couldn't they just made the fucking hologram of him and her and split the difference?
Like, just put him on a video screen or something. Yeah. Like, there's so many ways around what. Again, the simplest thing: just cast another person that kind of looks like Peter Cushing. It's not that hard. Fans will understand. Oh, Peter Cushing died 50 years ago. Like, it's fine. But no, I love this movie, but I hate, like, I can't stress enough how much I hate all the unnecessary shit that they cram into this movie. I hate the Tarkin stuff. I hate the Vader stuff. I hate the fact that this movie takes place 5 minutes before New Hope. That's completely unnecessary. Like, you don't need to do that. To me, the movie can end when the planet blows up. Like, that to me is the ending of the movie.
Yeah.
It's way better. Like, I know how...
I already know what happens next.
I know how New Hope starts. I didn't need to know that they literally went from 2 blockade runners to that one in the beginning of the movie. Like, it's such a terrible decision that it's like, I can't believe somebody's like... I mean, people aren't retarded, you know? Like, they'll get it. But, like, I think that's... And to again, I think that those poor decisions are an antithesis to the rest of the movie that I think is written, like... While it's not, like, high art, obviously... One of the things that stuck out to me, and you guys had already mentioned, like, the acting, I think, is really well done. I think the writing is really well done, especially considering the writing of these characters now and Star Wars now, where it's like, it's literally dumbed down for babies, and everything's got to be like, have a joke every 5 sentences.
Yeah.
And everything's got to be silly and like weighed down by just goofiness. This movie doesn't really have that. Again, there's a little bit of Star Wars cheese in there, but like, Empire. While I disagree with you guys that this is the best Star Wars movie, like Empire is the best Star Wars movie.
You're wrong, but go ahead.
It's absurd to think otherwise. But Empire has some goofiness, but it also has a lot of heartfelt moments, and like it's got a darker tone, but it's a great movie, and it has a little bit of that corniness in it. You need a hint. The problem is that like the sequel trilogy is just full of it, and it's full of like Whedonisms and like Sean. They fly now. They've been flying since fucking Return of the Jedi, but let's ignore that.
It also, Alec might appreciate this. And always, those new movies remind me of when Zoidberg and Harold Zoid are making their serious political drama, and it's like, have some pies thrown in the background.
Yeah, you go.
I've seen that episode.
Calculon. They're just fucking like doing slapstick shit behind them.
It's just, I don't know. And again, like we opened the show with, really, this movie just makes me sad because, like, I really felt like the future was bright for Star Wars projects because I was like, and again, we've hit this fucking bell 1,000 times, but like you had a whole universe. You could do whatever you wanted. This movie was like a heist movie, and it was clever and it's interesting, and it introduced all new characters, and there was no lightsabers, well, except for Vader's. Again, part that I choose to ignore. But like, it was clever, and it's like, hey, this is a cool story for new characters in your Star Wars universe. More of this, please.
The universe is a big place. Yeah.
They just fucking are like, no. We gotta have fucking Skywalkers and Vader and Yoda and all that bullshit. Like, no, like new stuff, please. New stuff.
It's all Clintons and Bushes.
But it's still a very good movie. Like I said, an 8 is not a bad score. It's just, man, do I want the cut it, like, give me the fan cut of this movie where they fucking edit out all that, like, hey, remember Star Wars bullshit? Because also I think it triggers me too because that's all Star Wars has become now. That's like every show is just logo, like, hey, remember this? Hey, remember this?
The Lucasfilm logo should just be Kathleen Kennedy desperately squeezing a rock with a single drop of blood falling out of it.
Oh, no, it wouldn't be blood, Sean. It'd be that blue milk that came out of the tip that Luke drank in the fucking second movie. But yeah, it's a great movie, though. Don't get me wrong. I just hate the Star Wars callbacks in this movie. I feel like they're just so unnecessary to the movie. But it's still a great movie, and I really enjoy it. And it's probably the last thing Star Wars related that I'll ever enjoy. Because I don't know if we talked about this analog or on the show. It's hard to remember sometimes. But like that Aunt Cassian Andor show is coming out. But do any of you have any sliver of hope that's going to be written in the same kind of tone as the movie? No.
No, it's going to be the same thing as the Boba Fett show. But maybe they'll make another KOTOR game. Maybe Obsidian will make another Star Wars game, and I'll be into that.
Fucking, where's my Dash Rendar show? Where's my fucking what was the name of the guy in the original Dark Forces games? Kyle something.
Oh, Kyle Katarn.
Yes.
Where's my fucking Republic Commando show?
Yes, those books were pretty good.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sean.
It's a 10 for me, even though I also despise, and like I'm dying on the hill because I think minute 1 we talked about, I fucking hated that Darth Vader scene. I felt like I was on an island too, like the second one, because everybody loved that shit. This is the best Star Wars movie, and I'll tell you why it's better than Empire. And might be a technicality, but technically correct is the best kind of correct. The version of Empire Strikes Back that you're talking about doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right. Fair.
Like,
well, it does for me because I have the despecialized.
Right, but I'm not going to jump through like 50 hoops and buy a despecialized edition and all this other bullshit. I couldn't even tell. I've seen so many different versions of those movies now. I can't tell you which version is which anymore. Does that make sense? Like,
fair point. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
I've brought it up a few times. There's a scene in A New Hope where the Falcon does a vertical takeoff, like by the cantina, and I don't know if that's in the original or not. It doesn't seem like it is, but it also might be. I don't know.
I think that's just in the special edition. I know.
Yeah, with like, and I love Tamora Morrison, but the dubbing back over Boba Fett, and like this movie is also this movie is also the only Star Wars movie besides the first movie, which I love A New Hope, but it's like a wildly overrated movie. Like whenever you see the rankings of lists, it's usually like 2 or 3, and it's not. It's not. It just isn't. this is the only movie that stands by itself. And Alec is right. If you take the Star Wars shit directly out of it, like obviously the aesthetics gonna be the same. You can't go back and change their uniforms and all that stuff. But if you just take all the New Hope stuff, we'll say, out of it, it still functions almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like, it is a movie and a story, a Star Wars story unto itself. And, like, even Empire doesn't function that way. As much as I love that movie, like, it is wholly dependent on...
Well, yeah, and it's the middle,
first movie, it's a sequel,
part,
right?
Yeah, it's the middle part of the
trilogy. But yeah, like, again, Empire doesn't exist in the same way. And you know what, blame who you want, but that's
a fair thing to say. I don't disagree with your take there. Like, I agree with that.
So,
also, I don't think I pointed it out, but fucking Jen Asshole is hot as hell. She's the hottest.
Yeah, she's way better than Rey. She's also a better character than Rey.
Yeah, she's Her, you know how like Rey got all that shit for being the Mary Sue or whatever. Yeah. I think we've talked about it. I could
give a fuck. Yeah,
that whole argument is stupid as hell. But like Jen Asshole's character seems more strong and confident, and she's, you know what I mean? Like, she's only in one movie.
Because she's just a regular ass dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the best Star Wars movie, and like, it makes me hate all the rest of the Star Wars shit like even more. I think I'm gonna finally watch The Rise of Skywalker probably before the next show.
Oh no!
I was thinking about doing the same thing because
you haven't seen it either, Gogs. You both should watch it.
I need closure, I guess.
I guess it's the one I haven't seen.
It's the only Star Wars movie I haven't seen.
I was really worried I was going to watch this movie and not like it as much. I'm like, there's no way, because like I really fucking hate Star Wars now. Like, I just I can't stand any of it, and it's like this representation of that fucking cyberpunk dystopia we live in now.
Yeah,
like
I don't even like Star Wars anymore.
Yeah. I love this movie, man. Like, it never stops. Like, there are no boring parts in this movie.
Yeah, it's well paced. It's a little long, but it's definitely well paced.
I mean, they're all a little long. Is there a Star Wars movie that's under 2 hours besides Solo, which is like the most boring out of all of them?
I don't know. I'd have to look at runtimes. I think no. I think they're all at least 2 hours long. Right? Yeah.
But no, I think we talked about it to death. Like, I fucking adore this movie. Like, it's really good and really sad, both on purpose and on accident because of everything that came after it.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that.
Yeah. So,
all right, what's the next week's theme? Alex?
Give me September 11.
Oh God,
we're just fucking beating that song to death.
Great, it's a great song.
So does anybody have a pick?
No.
I was looking at a big list. I was going to do Iron Eagle, but we already watched that.
God no.
I've had a whole list of movies. I had one. Hold on.
Is it in the Big Chill? Because I might.
It is in the Big Chill. And I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
My pick's going to be Tropic Thunder.
Hell yeah.
I'm seeing a movie compilation. Where the heck is it?
Tropic Thunder's an interesting movie because it's probably the last moment that movie could have came out without everybody involved with it getting canceled.
So I could do
absolutely.
My choice. Here's what I had. I was thinking about The Big Chill, but I was also thinking about Wild Hogs.
Oh my God! I've actually seen that movie.
And Good Morning Vietnam.
I've never seen either.
I think I might pick Good Morning Vietnam because I have seen Wild Hogs. I was thinking about Good Morning Vietnam. Be my pick.
What the hell is the Adam Project?
That's the new Ryan Reynolds movie on Netflix.
Oh God.
What was that movie we watched where that dog turned into a dirt bike?
Axel.
That movie
all right.
ruled.
So we gotta somebody make a pick. I gotta go through this list. I gotta figure out.
I'm good with Good Morning Vietnam.
Good Morning Vietnam. Yeah. I've never seen it, so I'm interested. I love. Well, you don't love him that much.
You love Vietnam.
I love Vietnam.
Robin Williams.
You couldn't think of Robin Williams.
It's been a day.
What if he was a porn star? He'd be Robin Williams. I'm still happy about.
I mean, he'd also be Bobbin Williams.
I'm still happy with my shit joke.
That's pretty good.
That was pretty good. How did it take me that long to think about that?
I'm glad it didn't. It would be weird if it did.
Anyway.
All right. Later, dudes.
Dogs, you got anything you want to plug?
No, I'm just Robin Williams, I guess.
Shout out to this imaginary porn star.
I'm about to fuck you. I'm
just with a clown nose on. Just beep, beep.
He starts
He's
doing
just showing up on other porn movie sets and stealing their moves.
He keeps fucking people, but he's doing like weird impressions all the time. Like he's like John Wayne, where I'll lie on it.
He's like Neon Genesis Evangelion. What does this guy do? Oh, he's a good guy, and he has a sword.
He blasts.
Only TJ got that joke.
Yeah, and that wasn't a good guy. That was one of the prototype Avas that killed Asuka. Thank you very much.
Here's something you may not know. Did you know that figure came from his personal collection? Like he's a big fucking mark for that.
I did know that. Yeah,
oh, okay.
I didn't know it at the time, obviously, but this is a fact that I've learned since. Anyway, bye everybody.
We should go Robin Williams month because I'd love to go back to that movie where he edits people's memories. Do you remember that? The final cut.
No.
Okay.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right. What about what dreams may come? CUN with Robin
Williams.
Robin Williams.
Well, it could be slut dreams may come.
Slut dreams may come.
Or creams.
I thought you said wet. Wait, did you not go wet dreams may come?
Dreams may come.
Yeah, wet. That was a classic joke.
Robin Williams. And of course, you got Snatch Adams with Robin Williams.
Jack off.
We gotta have one more. There's gotta be one more. Sex toys with
Good
Robin
pork
Williams.
in Vietnam.
Good
pork in Vietnam.
Oh boy. Oh, that's pretty good. The Dead Penis Society.
Bicentennial Man.
Jumanji?
All right. Oh, we could go on and on and on.
All right.
Jesus.
Good night, folks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.